The only way to deal with fear that I found in my life is a couple ways. One of those ways is to turn it on itself and ask yourself, what am I afraid of? If I'm afraid of that, I gotta be more afraid of what I'm gonna miss out on, missing out on my mission, missing out on who I'm supposed to be, In other words, if you're not gonna get rid of fear, then use fear. Use fear or it uses you, it's that simple. Fear is at pandemic levels. Fear is, viral today. And as you know, when someone gets in a fearful place for whatever reason, whether it's something real or not, it has a hormonal response. All of a sudden, the heart starts racing. You start to breathe shallow. Everything narrows down your focus. And what happens is we go into survival. And we all have a survival brain because we all have a 2 million-year-old brain. And that brain's always looking for what's wrong. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that tap into that today. 80% of success in life, I've found beyond a shadow of a doubt with the tens of millions of people I work with in over 150 countries, 80% of success is psychology. It's your mindset, it's your emotion, it's your capacity to overcome your fears and your limitations and just push yourself anyway. 20% of success in life is knowing what to do, having the skills or the strategies or the tools. Now that might sound weird to you because most of you know I'm a strategist. Like I know the right strategy in anything can save you 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You could be working for a decade doing something that's not working, and all of a sudden you get the right offer, the right approach, the right insight, the right way of communicating, and the whole game changes. So strategies can turn decades into days, can compress decades into days. It can accelerate your success like nothing else. But strategies don't get implemented whenever we allow our mindset to get in the way. And the natural mindset of all human beings, it's set in our brains. We have a 2 million-year-old brain. That's how old it's been around. And if you let the survival mindset, which is the part that we go to under stress and fear, most of us, if you let it take you over, it's always looking for what's wrong. It's always looking to find what's wrong, what could hurt me, what could get in trouble, and let me either avoid it, let me freeze, or let me fight, or let me hide, right? People are either running from it, or they're freezing, or they're fighting with what they're afraid of. And so what I want to talk to you about is that 4-letter word, that 4-letter F word that'll mess you up. And it's not the word most people think of, it's the word fear, right? We call it false evidence appearing real, F-E-A-R. Because if you own the morning, you own your day. And it starts the frame of reference. We all forget that if you're in a fearful state, you see everything differently. If you're in an angry state, you see everything through that filter. So every day I start my day by training my brain how to feel. And I do it for just literally 11 minutes, 10 to 11 minutes. Because you say 20 minutes, 30 minutes, people say don't have time. If you don't have 10 minutes for your life, you don't have a life. The reason is when you're grateful, it destroys the two emotions that mess us up, fear and anger. You can't be angry and grateful simultaneously. You can't be fearful and grateful simultaneously. So the first step after changing your physical state and emotion is to stack these 3 experiences. And if you do that every day to start your day as the first step, you're gonna see the world through a different set of eyes. Well, if you can have compassion for others and yourself, if you can send love to others and yourself, if you can imagine a healing light, a gold white light coming through your body like a shower that pours through. So the second step is 3.5 minutes, you think about people you love and you pour light and love into them. You see your own body healing. And then you move to the third step, which is focusing really on what we call your 3 to thrive. 3.5 minutes, the last part of the 10 minutes, where you think of 3 things you really want to achieve, but instead of thinking like you want them, you see it as done. You feel a sense of certainty, you feel a sense of celebration. Because in that state of celebration, that sense of certainty gives you momentum, and now you want to go do something. When people are uncertain, that's when they don't take action. That's when fear takes over.
You can either live your dreams or live your fears. And I think the majority of people actually are not living their dreams, but are living their fears. So I want to ask you a question. What are your fears? What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? Because we all have fears, don't we? We all have something that's blocking us, that's holding us back. And as we begin to look at life, what we realize is that the reason that most people are not living out their true potential, are not doing all of the things that they would really like to do, is because of fear. Some people call fear false evidence or expectations appearing real. I'm reminded of the story of a guy that was living in an area where he had some new neighbors, and these neighbors had a bulldog. And when he came home every day, this bulldog used to chase him about a half a block from his house. Every day, he would have to streak home. I mean, he would just run. This bulldog would be right on his heels. And so he just got tired of that, because he would go home about a half a block away from home. He would look around for this bulldog, and he wouldn't see him. And he would go walking casually along, and this bulldog come out of nowhere, woo, 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 and start chasing him, and he'd run home. So this one day, he just got tired. And so when the bulldog was running after him, he started running. He saw a rock, and he stopped to pick it up to throw at the bulldog. And when the bulldog got up on him, he started barking. He realized the bulldog didn't have any teeth in his mouth. Then he started chasing the bulldog. If you don't get all the way from it, because the most the bulldog could have done is gummy, you know. And so, you know what? Most people go through life running scared. Running scared from things that have no teeth in them, because they're false expectations appearing real. That, see, we're brilliant enough to scare ourselves to death. You realize that? There are some people actually who get a kick out of scaring themselves to death. I remember the last frightening movie I saw. It was The Exorcist. I will never forget. I was so frightened when I came home. I'll never forget. I drove in the driveway, and I had already called my former wife and said, listen, turn the lights on. I was coming in the driveway, and I was getting out of the car, and all of a sudden I couldn't get out. I started blowing my horn. I said, Madeline, they got me, they got me. She came to the kitchen and said, take your seatbelt loose, fool. I said, oh, okay. I was frightened out of my wits. But there are a lot of people who they get off on that. They love it. I'm a person, my brother is a paratrooper. My twin brother, he's in the military, career man. I would love to jump out of an airplane with a parachute. I'm scared though. I mean, I really admire my brother for that. I would really love to be macho man like that. What are the things that you fear that's been keeping you from living your dream? That's been keeping you from doing some things that you would like to do? Just think about those things. And how do we begin to handle that? Abraham Maslow said that the life is about growth. And he said, you can either go back to your comfort zone, and there you won't find any growth, or you must be willing to go forward and face your fears again and again and again. Because you're never going to have a fear-free existence. I mean, some fear is acceptable and legitimate. There are some things that you really should be afraid of. Now, you shouldn't allow it to immobilize you. You acknowledge it, you take it into account, and you carry yourself accordingly. There are times that we should proceed with caution. But it's the difference between being stopped by fear. It's the difference between having a fear and the fear having you. So what do? One, acknowledge it, and knowing that it's okay. Don't condemn yourself for being afraid. It's perfectly fine to have some fears. You acknowledge your fears, you embrace those fears, and then you move on. You act on whatever it is that you fear. Because once you embrace it, see, what you resist will persist. What you resist will persist. So one of the most important things is to begin to embrace your fear.